The new trend online where conservatives take random clips of a show and then pretend like it does what they say that it does is pretty incredible. I think we saw it in full force after the Jubilee Sam Cedar debacle, and now they just do it all the time and hope that it works. Please watch one of the most insane displays of stupidity I've ever seen in my life.
So my point is upholding the law is marginally good. Sometimes the law is bad, and that's why it's not always good. In this regard.
So wait, you're saying simply the fact that Marco Rubio exercised his legal authority to do something was good. It's like he had the legal authority to do it. He could have enforced this law as he saw it on anybody. He could have enforced it on a comedian, right? Who's in town and goes on stage and says, "Hey, you know what? I disagree with this or that." Or, "Hey, I just did shows in
Canada.
what?
You're not from Canada.
No, but I just did shows in the UK and Amsterdam, and I made fun of UK politics, made fun of American politics."
You wouldn't dare make fun of Islam, though.
You wouldn't dare make fun of Islam, though. An incredible line. Let's see how we follow through.
Go to the UK and mock Islam. Do it.
Well, I don't have any jokes about Islam.
Why not? They got Pakistani grooming games for raping little girls. Why won't you go to the UK?
What?
Why won't you go to the UK and make jokes about Islam?
I don't think it's very funny. I don't have any jokes about it. I'm so confused. Dude.
Okay, let me help unconfuse you. Are there jokes that can be made about Islam? Yes or no?
Wait, I don't want to. I don't want to go to this particular rabbit hole.
Oh, no. You're terrified. You're a hypocrite.
What?
Are there jokes you can make about Islam? Muhammad banged a little girl, right?
What the fuck joke is he supposed to spin from that? Hey, why don't you make a joke about checks notes?
What? Are there jokes you can make about Islam? Muhammad banged a little girl, right?
What the fuck type of joke do you make about? Is the joke just being racist? Is that it? Just like, can you believe that some people are worse? And I'm going to suggest that it's a specific group of people. Yeah, there are jokes you can make about every religion. I don't think that there are a lot of good jokes you can make about that. This is a blowjob. This is a blowjob. This is a...
I'm really baffled.
Come on.
I'm
terrified of this subject. I'm not.
No, I'm not.
In the UK, you can be jailed for making jokes about Islam or even bring up the grooming gangs. There are people who go online and pointed out that a stabbing was carried out by a Muslim, and they got arrested for it. I'll bet you $1,000 you will not go to the UK and make a joke about any of that stuff. Because you will not go to a foreign country and in violation of their laws, speak out against what they've said not to speak out against. Do it. I dare you. $10,000. Cash in your pocket if you go to the UK and make a joke about Muhammad having a 12-year-old wife.
We got here faster than I thought we would in this conversation. Where you're shouting at me about something I don't understand. I don't really understand how you would think it's incumbent upon me.
Do you think anybody watching this right now thinks you are confused by the notion that in the UK you go to jail for mocking Islam?
I don't understand how we got onto you shouting at me about Islam specifically. I'd like to return to
okay. It's because you said people should be allowed to come to this country and speak out against it. And you said you're a comedian, and you go to other countries, right? And you said you go to the UK. And I said, okay, if you go to the UK, speak out in violation of their laws and see what happens. And you said, I'm confused. I don't understand. What don't you understand? Will you go to Turkey? Will you go to Turkey and speak out against Islam?
I mean, if I have a joke to make, sure. I don't have a joke about those particular topics.
You would.
I would.
You're saying if you had a joke about.
Oh, yeah, sure. I would try to do the best I can. I always try to poke the bear as much as I can. It's part of the job of a comedian.
Because the bear about as it pertains to one of the world's largest religions. I mean, come on.
Me getting really mad that Jim Gaffigan doesn't have jokes about the state of Trump. What do you mean you don't automatically have jokes prepared for every topic that I want you to make jokes about? Like, what? What the fuck are we talking about here?
I mean, I haven't written a joke about that recently.
All right. Then I
So
look
look,
forward to going to the UK.
hey man, I'm a free speech guy.
And I kind of wanted to watch what this conversation devolved into, because already on that, like on just from this clip alone, I am in awe that anyone has tried to spin this in Tim Pool's favor. New liberal comedian Adam Conover turns into a bumbling mess after Tim Pool offers him $10,000 to go to the UK and make a joke about Islam. What a beatdown. Okay. Okay. All right. Like real people don't talk like this. This isn't real. I can't imagine being on Adam Conover and responding any other type of way and not saying like, okay, wait. First of all, pretending like speaking out and using a platform that you have, no matter how small or big that is, to organize a protest against how you believe what I assume this is about Mahmoud Khalil, about how you believe your government spends your tax dollars. That's the same as like what punching down up at a religion. And also, I'm sorry, you think if I do that, I'm less of a hypocrite? The reason I haven't done that is because I don't have any jokes pre-prepared for that. Also, making jokes when you're part of the out group isn't ever going to be as good as when you're in the in group, because you just can't write jokes as well if you don't know that culture or that group well enough. It's the same reason that like black comedians will actually write good jokes about the black community, whereas white comedians will end up just writing racist jokes. Same thing with the queer community. Like people in the queer community will be able to write actually good jokes because they are in the queer community. So there are jokes beyond, here's me pretending to be gay. Here's me wearing a dress, and that's it. Objectively, some of the best trans jokes that I've seen, I mean, delivery plays a big part, but like the jokes about name choices. Those are always pretty good. Those are always pretty good. Lilith, yes. Gertrude. Choosing non-white names when you are 100% white. It's so good. It's so good. But that's not a joke that you would be able to tell if you've never met a trans person, because if you've never met a trans person, your only understanding of what that joke looks like is, I'm wearing a dress, ha ha ha, and that's it. I wouldn't be shocked if Adam Conover would struggle to write a better joke about Islam than like an ex-Muslim. Or even someone that is currently actively practicing Islam. Because you're inundated with the culture all the time. You actually have a good understanding of what cultural aspects are really stupid and which ones are less stupid and which ones are weirdly stupid. But anyways. A trans woman named Gertrude dating a trans man named Knox. No. Oh, God. But that's like a way better joke that isn't super tired in comparison to like that's why the Dave Chappelle trans jokes weren't funny. This is not fun. Oh my God, attack helicopter. Oh my God, pronouns. Oh my God. Did I mention I'm wearing a dress? It's like, we've heard this joke 6,000 times. Get some new material. Oh my God. But, I haven't heard of Tim Pool before. What is his background? Just an angry conservative ranter. He used to work with Vice many, many years ago. And then he did like a documentary. It's like I almost want to call it like a fake documentary series about how there's too many Muslims in Europe. And then he became a conservative grifter. Although I think at this point he believes everything that he says. But he has to pretend like he's not a conservative. So he just calls himself a centrist or a classical liberal. But I want to see
You
this.
do the routines I used to do, like the Catholic and Protestant routine, or the, what's the one that, the Lord's Prayer routine. Those ones, lovely routines, right? But if you do them now, you genuinely get members of the Christian right coming up to you after gigs or online and going, oh yeah, they love saying this, by the way, they love saying this. Oh, you'll make jokes about the Catholics. You'll make jokes about the Protestants. But you won't make jokes about the Muslims, will you? No, you're not that brave to make jokes about the Muslims, are you? No, not that brave, Mr. Comedian Man, to make jokes about the Muslims. Oh, the Christians, they're an easy target, but you won't make jokes about the Muslims, right? They fucking love that. To which I always say, there are two reasons I don't do jokes about Muslims. A, I don't know a fucking thing about Muslims. And B, neither do you. It would be pointless. I could research and write the greatest Muslim-based material you've ever heard. Hey, what's up with the big golden horse that comes over the hill once a year and hands out cake to the kids? What's that all about? And you'd all be there going, is that a thing? I've never heard of that. Is that a thing? Oh, geez, you've really nailed the Muslims there, Dar. Well done. Congratulations.
I wonder why predominantly white, predominantly Christian or Catholic comedians don't make that many jokes about groups of people that they don't know about and they don't know anything about. I don't know, as a concept. And I like how Adam Conover has a very normal human being response to this. And it's like, what the fuck is this tangent? Genuinely, what is happening? And then he's like, Alex, and then there's like the point where he comes to the realization, he remembers that he's talking to Tim Pool, and he like sinks his head into his hand, and he's like, okay, I'll explain it to you.
About that recently.
All right.
So look, hey man, I'm a free speech guy, right? I think that something that's nice about America is that we're a country that has that value, and that we don't generally think that you should be tossed into a van and kicked out of the country for expressing an opinion. I think that it is a change. I think it's a change in America to most people around the world to feel that, oh, wait, if I go to America and I express a mild opinion about their foreign policy in my own student paper, or maybe on a stage or maybe somewhere else, I could be, without any warning to me, accosted by 6 people on the street, thrown into a van, and taken out of the country.
Oh, come on,
right?
accosted.
Oh, let me finish.
Don't go the
I think that's a strain.
Why did he pretend to be offended by the term accosted there? Oh, you really think they're accosting them? There's like 6 dudes that are like wearing full masks and goggles being like, get in the van. Come on, come on, come on. Is that not getting accosted? What the hell?
I think that's a new idea for a lot of people, that America is that type of country. I think that Donald Trump,
I mean, and this is the biggest problem with the conservative landscape at this point. Lying is OP and everything. So you just don't include the sections of the clip where he actually breaks down why this is the stupidest argument on the planet. First, Tim Pool brings up this ridiculous idea like, so you can criticize all these people, but you won't criticize these people. Interesting. And he says, well, sure, if you want me to do it, I'll do it. I just haven't made jokes about that group before, so what the hell? And then explains why this concept is so stupid. To point at another country and say, well, you can't do it there. It's like, okay, so I don't agree with that. Even if that was possible, I don't agree with that. I like America being a country where you can criticize whoever you want to criticize. Wasn't Tim Pool caught taking money from Russia? His opinion on anything political is moot and void. How was he supposed to know that the hundreds of thousands of dollars that he was getting paid to say Ukraine is the West's biggest enemy was coming from Russia. How was he supposed to know that? I mean, the money could have been coming from anyone. Did you think about that? My God, dude. I don't understand this chat message. Why you don't go after H3? I don't know what this means. Elaborate. Elaborate, chatter. I also wanted to take a little bit of a peek into this.
Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here,
Hi, Mr.
internet's
Meltdown.
busiest music nerd. Hope you're doing well. It seems once again we have to come onto this channel and address a right-wing freak pretending to be a fan of music and art, or at least visibly struggling on their shitty YouTube channel and podcast to sort of like rationalize maybe the person they once were or the heart that maybe they have on some level, not really being copacetic with the psychotic, bigoted views they now have to hold for a job. Of course, I am talking about the one and only Tim Pool, aka Beanie Man. You know, if you've had the displeasure of seeing any amount of content from Tim's YouTube channel, you know that like a lot of other weird right-wing talking heads on the internet, he makes a lot of money and gets a lot of attention by virtue of commenting on with a lot of indignance, a lot of pop culture items that are either nominally or deeply offensive to those with right-wing views because, oh, it's woke or it's blasphemous or whatever. Enter in singer-songwriter Laura Jane Grace of Against Me fame, modern punk rock legend, many would claim, who recently did a little performance at a Bernie Sanders rally of like this silly-ass acoustic sing-along song about essentially, as a trans person, feeling fucked by God, which, you know, if you have two brain cells to rub together, even if you haven't personally experienced what Laura Jane Grace is, you know, obviously describing in this song, you sort of like get the concept pretty easily that I am a trans woman. Personally, I feel kind of under fire socially with all of this hate being lobbed towards trans people, all of this bigotry. A lot of that bigotry tends to kind of skew as being very religious, or at least it's coded as such, hence the metaphor where she's feeling fucked by God. Now, apparently this performance may have gotten a little viral online in right-wing circles, made some people pissed off. Tim Pool goes on his show and says people are angry and pissed off and raging about things all the time just to have something to talk about on YouTube. So of course, that's kind of like the lead into this whole reason for him talking about Laura Jane Grace in this video here.
A transgender singer is sexually graphic in front of a crowd of people, which I presume largely is adults, but it's a Bernie rally, so there's probably some kids there. Totally inappropriate.
If this were any other Tim Pool segment, and in many ways it
Wait, I want to see this.
There really wouldn't be much reason for me to talk about it, except for the fact that I find it hilarious that Tim spends a great deal of this video trying to validate his criticisms and basically provide some weight to his point of view here because he used to be a massive Against Me fan.
I am an OG fan. OG, of course, for those that don't know, means original gangster.
He even tries to impress
OG, for those of you who don't know, means original gangster. Oh my God. What's the term kids are using now? No aura. Oh my God, dude. Jesus Christ.
the viewers of the video that Tim really knows what he's talking about and knows where he's coming from here because he used to know how to play all the songs on guitar.
You had the classic song, Baby, I'm an Anarchist, for which I can still play on the guitar. And then, of course, you had much better songs, in my opinion, like Pints of Guinness Make You Strong.
In fact, it's kind of funny because as he progressively talks about Laura Jane Grace and this song and like how big of a fan he once was, it seems like the number of Against Me songs he knows how to play on guitar like increases. First, it was a bunch of songs, then it was like the Axl Rose songs, and then like, you know, he's listing other tracks too. He just knows the whole damn Against Me catalog.
And they have a song called Tonight We're Gonna Give It 35%. And that is, I can't remember which album it's off of, But I used to play it all the time. I'm pretty sure I can still play. So it's only 4 chords anyway. And it's about signing a record deal. What? We're going to get signed to a major record deal and get $1 million? Let's go. And that's when I was like, hypocrites.
He even goes on to play a lick from an Against Me intro.
I can prove it. Here we go. Okay. Anybody who knows what that song is, you know exactly what song I was playing.
And I just find this very funny because, like, the time period that Tim describes in this video as far as, like, being into Against Me and how their music resonated with him at the time when they were originally hot, with Axl Rose and so on and so forth. I was a big fan of the band at that same time. In fact, like, I saw the band live way back then, and I had all the EPs on vinyl and liked some of the stuff they did on Fat Records not too long after that. And Tim is just like obsessed in this video with like proving how like hardcore of a fan he was, how deeply ingrained into like the Against Me sphere he was. He even goes on to sort of like brag like, oh yeah, you know, like I know people who knew or know Laura Jane Grace. You know, I don't know them personally. I don't got any beef, but like, you know, I know people who know people. And Tim like basically says all of this to build up to his argument that in his opinion, now he states this as fact, but then he also sort of like backpedals a bit. He's like, oh, I'm just saying, I'm just asking some questions. He goes on to argue that he feels that Laura Jane Grace is essentially just
Listen, I'm going to be honest, all right? As someone who is an internet DJ, I'm not going to ever pretend to be like a concert person, a music nerd. I will fold on every music opinion. My starting point on music is I'm probably wrong. I like this music anyways. The notes sound good in my ears. And that's where I am on music. I don't know anything about music. I learned how to read sheet music because I took chorus for a bunch of years, and besides that, I don't know anything else. That's it. That's my only understanding of music. To be clear, I love music. I love listening to music. I love having constant music playing, but I'm not claiming to be a music intellectual by any means. And I've never bought a ticket to go to a concert. I've accidentally gone to concerts here and there, but I've never went out of my way to go to a concert. So I don't claim to be an intellect in the music space, all right? Stumbled into a concert. Yeah, I've done that. And I'm not like a fucking Mormon the way that Hassan is, where he just like doesn't listen to music like some fucking freak. All right? I enjoy my music. Straw Bambi, thank you. Welcome. Here's going to a random playlist produced by YouTube. Here's some songs that YouTube knows that I like, for people saying, what type of music do you like? All right. Not this one. This one keeps playing. Have you guys listened to this song recently? There's a line in there that's not good. Ocean Man. Yeah, Ocean Man. Everybody, if you are on Twitch and you don't know Ocean Man, you know. It's the only Ween song that I know. That one and one other one. I've listened. I don't even know what this song is. So this is a good.
Against Me's politics is similar to Asmol being a bigoted piece of shit while wearing a ghost shirt while not knowing they're a super pro-LGBT band.
Here's some music while we talk. Is YouTube your primary means? I know I usually use Spotify, but lately I've been using YouTube. I enjoy myself a little music. Do you like Coco Melon? Shut the fuck up. I'm a music enjoyer. With that in mind, dude, Tim Pool gives such poser vibes. He gives such big poser vibes. Every single person I've known who's pretty like punk, they don't care nearly as much as Tim Pool cares. And the biggest evidence of this is the beanie. There is not a single actual punk person that I know that would ever attach themselves so much to a beanie like that. That they would immediately start flailing if their beanie was taken from them. Baby want binky, baby want beanie. It's so performative. It's so beta. It's such a poser thing. And this is coming from a non-music understander. All right? Okay?
Just like pretending to be trans or transed herself for money and attention, and was entirely motivated by the fact that like Against Me was in a ton of debt and just needed money.
I would say that the honest take here, lead singer of Against Me.
Also, I wish I could see Laura's like sexually provocative behavior on stage. Because like, not that I'm hating, but we've all seen the Sabrina Carpenter stage dances, yes? What does sexually provocative here mean? Is it on the same level as Sabrina Carpenter? Because if so, if you're only mad about the trans woman doing it, I think that's on you.
Was in the gutter. The band was not doing really well. They had massive amounts of debt.
I like this theory. I like this Tim Pool theory. The band wasn't doing so well, so the lead singer transed herself. Is that what Tim Pool's plan is? If his podcast starts falling off, he's just gonna trans himself? Like what? Like I can imagine all the band members sitting at like a whiteboard being like, what do we do? Rob a store? No. Kill the president? No, that's illegal. We can't do that. Kill a CEO. That's a good one. That is a good one. Then they might put us on death row. Oh, I got it. Let's just get trans. Like, what is the world that Tim Pool lives in?
They failed. And then I got an idea, trans. And then all of a sudden they saw a big...
He said it.
Now, if you're an actual Against Me fan, you know how bullshit that argument is, because when you dig into the band's back catalog, like tracks as early as Disco Before the Breakdown do very much convey like a closeted queer experience point of view of some sort. So like that alone would instantly delegitimize any argument.
Tim Pool talking about the writers/creators of The Matrix. They obviously trans themselves for attention. Can't possibly be that The Matrix had any allegories for the trans experience. Like,
argument that Laura Jane Grace coming out of the closet was like entirely fabricated and so on and so forth. But what's hilarious about this is that Tim is apparently such a fan, he's actually aware of this song, references it in his rant, and sort of like poo-poos the idea of that by saying this song must just be about either being gay or being about dating someone who's really fat and ugly.
The Disco Before the Breakdown, where you're like, hey, it sounds like this dude's gay. No, I mean like literally, because like either he's dating someone who's ugly or fat, or he's singing about being gay, because it has the lyrics, I know they're going to laugh at us when they see us out together holding hands like this. They wouldn't understand it if we told them all the reasons. Pause.
You can't make this up. The guy is such a mealy-mouthed piece of shit. And look, I'll be honest, it's been a long time since I have like really truly loved a new album from Against Me. I haven't really dug much the band has done since like Searching for a Former Clarity. And a lot of my reasoning comes down to the band mostly like adopting a more mainstream rock sound over the years. The idea that Against Me and Laura Jane Grace are like completely beyond listenability and fandom and respectability at this point because like they're just the biggest sellouts in rock and punk history is like complete bullshit. Like even the band's most mainstream sounding albums in their catalog don't even come close to sounding like radio rock or even like traditional commercial pop punk for that matter. In fact, I don't even think Laura or Against Me could.
Also, I like the idea that in what Tim Pool's world, being cis is the most punk thing you can do. Huh?
Even make that sort of album if they really wanted to. So the degree to which they can really even sell out on that front, I feel like is not even a reality. You may disagree with that personal assessment that I have. Certainly the opposite is arguable. However, I feel like the last person on the planet who should be making that argument is Tim fucking Pool. Because if Tim is going by the metric that Laura Jane Grace was at one time, like a really great underground hardcore singer-songwriter with anarchist leanings, and now she's like no longer fully that, and as a result she's a loser and a cretin and she shouldn't be taken seriously. Okay, if that is true of Laura Jane Grace, that applies 8, 10.
Also, Tim Pool's whole worldview is the last punk thing on earth. He's a status quo guy.
20 times for Tim fucking Pool, who apparently over here again is sitting here like a stan. I play all the songs on the guitar. Oh. So like how deep into the ideological tank were you for every old school Against Me song? Probably more than even Laura Jane Grace was, and she wrote the fucking tracks. Like in the grander scheme of things, the ideological shift that we're seeing in Laura Jane Grace as a singer and a songwriter over the course of Against Me 2002 to Against Me 2016 is like super gradual and even minimal in comparison to Tim Pool going from Against Me stan who knows all the songs on the guitar to Russian oligarch paid right-wing talking head freak who releases some of the worst music known to man under the title of his podcast.
Is he gonna play the Tim Pool's music?
Tell me what to do instead of dreaming. Let me die for you if I...
And at the very least, I can respect the fact that Laura Jane Grace in her own art and work has actually like tried to explain and contend with these.
Melon Man, you were too nice. Let me note, Melon Man, you were too sweet, too gentle. I, however, am a vicious, vile fucking human being. And I will subject people to Tim Pool's music. I am become dark woke. There's something very funny about being this bad of a musician and then criticizing other people. I know I don't hate John. No. 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 Can you imagine? Someone in chat wrote that this song is all build up and no release, and that is totally true. You're using audio filters to make him look bad. I couldn't if I wanted to, because I don't understand anything about audio. Tim Pool accused Sam Cedar of making his music sound worse.
We released only ever wanted and
Switch
ran
it
it through
up.
a filter to make it sound bad, and then made fun of us for having bad music.
I don't sound bad. You made it sound bad. You made it sound bad. This is giving like Ethan Klein being like playing videos of me speaking unedited is defamation, actually. It's actually defamation to play videos of me. It's actually you're defaming me by playing videos of me speaking. Actually.
Like, the dude legit is fake. And it wasn't him personally, it was his people who put a filter on my song to make it sound bad. But like, that's a really good example of what you get when you watch someone like Sam Cedar.
Hey,
Listen, we've had a lot of people on.
Hey, that's a really good example. There's other greater, even better examples I could be giving you right now. The one that I like couldn't finish that I started with, and this one that I'm gonna say is good, even though it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, right. Right.
No, I have no hair. If you take my beanie,
Keep going.
That's a really good example of what you get when you watch someone like Sam Cedar.
Listen, we've had a lot of people on. We had a Roland Martin on here 4 months ago, which was an incredible conversation, back and forth nonstop the entire time. It was uncomfortable from the second to the last second, literally. but it was one of my favorite conversations of the year. And we get, every time you have somebody on, people will text you and say, "Oh, I cannot believe you're having that person. This person's this." I've never had anybody on that I got that many text messages as Sam Cedar, and I don't know why. People,
We should pull
negative. Not good.
Well, so I will say,
When your music is so bad that people are playing it and you're accusing them of making it sound worse is incredible. It's actually incredible. It's actually amazing. That song needs one amazing drummer to come in and just destroy their set. I was waiting for it to happen and it never did.
It's driving me crazy.
Well, then they might make Tim Pool look stupid, and Tim Pool has to be the front of the stage because he's an egotistical maniac. Also, Joel, thank you so much for the 10 gift subs. And it's driving me crazy.
Denims is streaming.
Seriously, thank you for the 5.
Changes that she's had ideologically over the course of her lifetime in her music, actually presenting them to her fans to try to give them some sort of understanding. Meanwhile, Tim Pool over here is a million times more the sellout than Laura Jane Grace could ever be. And he gets to sit there on his shady billionaire funded podcast YouTube channel and pretends like he's not the textbook definition of a political internet grifter.
Ukraine is the enemy of this country. Ukraine is our enemy.
Remember when he was getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to say this, and then he had the audacity to say, "I was tricked. I didn't know that the money was coming from Russia. I was tricked." Jankware, thank you for the 5 gift subs. Thank you.
Funded by the Democrats. I will stress this again. One of the greatest enemies of our nation right now is Ukraine.
But yeah, wow, you really got to give it to Tim Pool for uncovering the Laura Jane Grace billionaire trans woman grift. Because as we all know, all rock singers, all punk rock bands, if they want to become famous and want to become millionaires and just sort of like, get really big and get really huge and see tons of success, but only for a little bit, though, only for a little bit. They all have to become trans. But yeah, there you go. Tim Pool exposed once again as a dimwit. And I think I'm going to leave it there. Over here next to my head is another video you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe.
Love the Melon Man, dude.